All right, this video is for lesson 4.7 homework, but we're going to look at these calculator tips first. So what we're doing today is parallel and perpendicular lines through a given point, but they're in standard form. So multiple choice, again, there are so many calculator hacks with multiple choice that even if you can halfway do a problem, or if you've got a few calculator skills, you can pass this thing. So what is the equation in standard form of the line that passes through the point 3, 5 and is parallel to the line represented by 5x minus 2y? So first off, parallel lines, same slope or different slope? If they're parallel, same slope or different slope? Same. So they're going to have the exact same slope. But the first thing I can do is control var. They give me this ordered pair, okay? So I'm going to do 3, because that's my x, control var x, and then my other point is 5. 5, control var, and that's my y. And then I'm going to type each of these equations in. 5x minus 2y equals -5. If it says false, that line does not go through that point. It's out. Next one, 5x minus 2y equals 5. So that one's still in. 5x plus 2y equals 25. True. Okay. So both these lines go through that point. I got to figure out which one is parallel to this. Two options. I'm going to show you the complete and absolute cheat on standard form. If the a and the b values, the numbers in front of the x and the y, are the same, they have the same slope. So 5 and -2, 5 and -2. Those have the same slope. This one is 5 and +2. So they have to be the same number. They have to be the same sign. But that's how you can tell in standard form if they're parallel, if the a and b values are identical. So this one is parallel, but it doesn't go through the point that I need. So it's got the same a and b values. So be careful. There's two pieces to these. Okay, so perpendicular. Do y'all remember the rule for slope for perpendicular lines? Negative, reciprocal. Flip it, change the sign. So first thing I want to do is I want to check that point because this one's a little bit, it's not as straightforward as those parallel lines are. So I've got 4, control var. Okay, there's my x, and then -4, that's this one, control var y. And then I type my answer choices in. Equals -2. False. Doesn't go through that point, so A is out. Okay, 2x minus y equals 2. Ooh, false. It's out. 3x plus 2y. I have a feeling this has got a boo-boo on it. True. Oh, it doesn't. So that one, everything eliminated. If you don't eliminate every answer choice, remember that you can find the slope from standard form, -a over b. So a is a +2, so I would change its sign, -2, and then put it over the b. The b is a -3. The negatives cancel. So that's the slope of this line, okay, 2/3. Negative reciprocal, flip the fraction on its head, change the sign. That's the slope that I need. So this one, -a. A is a 3, so we change the sign. B is a +2. Its slope matches what I need. So just in case you have two that go through that point, like I said, it's not quite as straightforward. What you can look at, though, the A and B are going to switch places, and the signs are going to change. So if b is negative here, when I put that 3 in front of the x, the sign has to change. And vice versa. If I went the other way, the 2 is the b in this one and it's positive. When it goes over here, one of them has to become negative. That sign has to change, okay? But A and B flip in perpendicular lines. Again, make sure you keep these pages, put them in the back of your book where they're supposed to go, because tomorrow's quiz is all multiple choice. So you can use this hack on every single problem tomorrow. All right, so our assignment for the day. Vocab first. What is the name of lines in the same plane that never intersect? Parallel. What is the name of lines that intersect at a 90-degree angle to form right angles? Perpendicular. Some of these say, I think we're going to do all of these. Nope, we're going to follow the rules on this one. Yep, we're going to follow the rules on this one. All right. A line that passes through the point 5, 0 and is parallel to y equals negative 4/5 x. Okay, write it in standard form. So let's write it in slope-intercept form first. So if it's parallel, what's going to be the slope? They're going to be the same. So what's the slope of the line given? It gives you that equation. Y equals negative 4/5 x. What's the slope of that line? Negative 4/5. Negative 4/5. So that's the slope of my new line. Okay. So what we know M is negative 4/5. X is 5, Y is 0. We've got this ordered pair. X is 5, Y is 0. So I can fill in all these blanks and I can find my y-intercept. So Y is 0. M is negative 4/5. X is 5 plus B. At this point, the calculator will do the heavy lifting for me. So exit out of that. Nope. Start a new one. So menu 3-1, 0 equals negative 4/5. I'm so glad that y'all understand how to do this and you don't need me to work through anything on this page. So B equals 4. So my equation in slope-intercept form, Y equals M is negative 4/5, X, and then the B is 4. Now I have to convert it to standard form. I know we struggle with this. We've got to be able to do it, though. So what's the first rule of standard form? No fraction. So how do I get rid of this fraction? Multiply everything by 5. So 5 times y is 5y. 5 times negative 4/5 is going to cancel that denominator out. So I'm left with a negative 4 and an x. And I just smush them all together. 4 times 5 is 20. All right, standard form. I need the x term over here. So how do I move that x term? Do the opposite. So I've got a positive 4x. Is that 5y positive or negative? It's positive. That cancels, and that equals 20. And I'm done. All right, next one is point slope form. A line that passes through the point 1, 2 and is parallel to y equals 5x plus 1. Write your equation in point slope form. So point slope form, and those are all still up on the board, is y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. So if it's parallel, what's going to be the slope of my new line? The number in front of x. And then I have an ordered pair, 1, 2. In point slope form, this is x1 and y1 though. So for this one, I'm just putting pieces in places. So y1 becomes a 2, m becomes a 5, x1 becomes a 1. And that's it. Point slope form is literally just putting the pieces in the right places. All right, perpendicular lines. A line that passes the point 10, -2 and is perpendicular to this standard form line. Before I can do anything, I have to find the slope of this line. Okay, so slope is -a over b. This is a, this is b. So -a, if it's a +5, I change the sign. B is that whole piece, -2. Those negatives cancel each other. So that's the slope of my original line. Perpendicular, flip the fraction on its head, change the sign. So that's my new slope. So my m is -2/5, and then they give me this point. They want this in slope-intercept form. So I have, as long as I've got an ordered pair and I've got a slope, I can write this equation. So y is -2, m is -2/5, x is 10, and I'm looking for b. All right, so menu 3-1, -2 equals -2/5 times 10 plus b, comma b. So b equals 2. So in slope-intercept form, y equals, slope comes first, -2/5, then the x, then the y-intercept. All right, perpendicular and point slope form. So for point slope form, I need a slope. What's the slope of my original line? -1. So if the original slope is -1, I have to do negative reciprocal. Any big number like that. -1, 2, 3, 4, any whole number. Just put it over 1 so you can flip it. So I flip it on its head. If this one's negative, this one's positive. 1 over 1 is just a 1. And then I've got my ordered pair, 0, -2. Remember, this is an x1 and a y1. Okay, so y minus, do I do minus a -2? Plus 2. Okay, y minus a -2 is plus 2. It's the same thing. 1 minus a -2 is 3, just like 1 plus 2 equals 3. It's the same. The math is the same. Slope is 1. X1 is 0. So this one's a little bit wonky. I need to clean it up. Y plus 2, there's nothing to simplify there. Do I need this 1? Doesn't make a difference, right? So I can make it invisible. Does subtracting 0 do anything? So that can become invisible too. So all I have on this side is an x. That's it. Those get tough when you have to really clean them up a lot because you're looking for one thing and your answer choices aren't matching up. All right, last one I'm going to do. Line that passes the point -2, 5 and is perpendicular. Write your equation in standard form. So let's do slope-intercept form first. Y equals mx plus b. So my original slope is 2 over 5. What's the negative reciprocal? Change the sign. So that's my slope. And then here's my point, -2, 5. So y is a 5. M is -5 over 2. X is a -2 plus b. So I got to solve for b. This one is about as long as they get. There's a lot of different pieces that you have to do on one like this. Okay. 5 equals 5 over 2 times -2 plus b, comma b equals 0. So my equation then is y equals my slope, then the x. Do I need to add a plus 0? Nope. Okay. Standard form. What's the first thing I need to do to get this in standard form? How? Multiply by 2. So 2 times y is 2y. This is going to cancel for me, and I'm left with -5x. I need to move the x over here. Add 5x. Now, when I do that, this cancels. Does that look right? What should I do? 0. That's the only time you want to leave a 0 in there if it's a placeholder. You just don't want a blank side of an equation. You want something over there. If there's nothing there, indicate with a 0 that there's nothing. Okay? All right, 5x plus 2y equals 0. That at least gets you to a 70 on this page. I left you 3. 2 of them are in slope-intercept form. Your final answer. 1 is in standard form. Okay?